Welcome, everyone. It's time for another edition of Doctor and the Dude. I am Dr. Jim Siebert, and joining me is the Dude, Josh Morgan. How are you doing? How are you doing today, Josh?
Awesome, man. Just, we're getting into hurricane season and I'm getting revved up.
Well, aren't we all? Now, today we're going to do something a little bit differently. Now, Josh runs into hurricanes and I run away from hurricanes. So we thought we'd talk about some of the supplies and some of the things that we use. Some are similar and some are a little bit different today. So Josh, why don't you tell us what are some of the things that you need to have when you're going to go run into to hunt a hurricane?
Well, I break it up into three categories. First of all, there's the hunt. And my main tool for hunting, believe it or not, is just a tablet computer. Yeah, tablet computer has, the maps, the radar, all the information you need, everything. And it's so different from when I started hunting hurricanes when I was having like paper maps and stuff. But yeah, tablet's the main thing. Now, in terms of documentation, there's of course the camera. This is how I bring the story and the experience to folks watching Weather Nation. And then this, my trusty Kestrel weather meter. Actually, I have a bunch of these, and this is to collect data to kind of document the experience from a scientific point of view. And then the third area is survival. And actually, probably, I'll bet you we've got some stuff in common here because we're both trying to survive.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And I got to tell you, I have the same things so far. We have very similar things in our bags. But let's talk about water for just a second. Now, again, I'm talking about evacuating, but it's the same process. The number one thing that you need to have is water or the ability to get water because it's really hard to carry, it's really heavy. And so I have a number of things. And again, in my go bags, everything's got to be light and it has to be something that I can pack away. So a life straw is always a great thing. And I just like it because it works and all you have to do is just suck on the end and it's great. But something for a little more long term, I have this, and again, it's really inexpensive to buy something like this. And this will do 100,000 gallons of water because you can actually clean this and keep using it and using it. And basically the principle is the same as the straw. You put it on your water source and then you basically drink it and take the straw and kind of drink it. So this is what I have because I do try to carry some bottled water, but for me it's actually really heavy. So what do you have, Josh?
Well, actually, you've outdone me in the water category. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, even though hunting hurricanes and typhoons all over the world, I'm usually just wherever I land, I just buy a bunch of bottles of water. But actually, you've inspired me. I'm going to go get one of those things because, hey, I'm all about portability wherever I'm going because I'm on the go to hunt. And the equipment that you showed me, it's not like that's going to add to my carry-ons or anything. That's some small portable stuff. And actually, it makes me even more independent. So you've inspired me, Dr. Jim.
And this can actually, you can screw this onto a water bottle. So it fits on there, so you can get your water bottles, but then wherever you get where water, you could get it right out of a stream and drink it, and you would be fine. So I think that's an important thing. Now, another thing that I think is important also is toiletries. And I know that sounds a little bit funny, but everything in my go bag is waterproofed, and I have everything in bags and bags, so it's easy to grab. So I'm not trying to find one thing. And I have wipes in here. I have sanitizer, deodorant, and that's more for everybody else around me
Wow.
more than it is for me. And then I also have, ibuprofen, headache medicine, stuff so that if I need to sleep, because if you're in a shelter or, for example, if you're in a difficult place, it might be hard to sleep. And so I have things like that.
Wow.
That's kind of in my toiletry bag, part of my go bag. What do you do?
I mean, wow, you got a whole beauty salon on the road there. That's like luxury living. Honestly, except for a toothbrush, the only other thing I bring are these antibiotics. My doctor actually prescribes these to me once a year. I almost never take antibiotics. I'm not one of these people who takes them a lot, but just in case I get a puncture wound in some crazy place, like I've had it in chases where like a nail goes through my foot or something, to prevent like a serious infection. That is one of the most important things when you might not have access to medical care for a couple of days.
Okay, so now we've talked about water, we've talked about some medicine, and I do think that's a great idea to have that with you. What do you do for food, especially when you might get stuck for a couple of days? How are you prepared for that?
I go for high calorie, sort of lightweight foods, so like nuts and crackers and stuff like that. And that might sound pretty grim, but here's the deal: when I'm hunting a hurricane, I'm not hungry. I'm going on adrenaline, so it's just about having access to calories to survive. And in some aftermath zones, especially in developing countries, I've been stuck for days just living on nuts and crackers. And you know what? It's not pleasant, but it's okay, and you get through it. And the thing about nuts and crackers is they don't spoil.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Now, I, of course, take it to another level. In every one of in our family, everybody's go bag has, this is just a small stove. It's tiny. It doesn't even weigh hardly like 3 or 4 ounces. And then I have a very small mess kit that goes with everything. And then I have freeze-dried food that is very small. I also have small MREs that I got from the government, which are just tiny, and yet when you put water in them, it kind of fills everything up. So this does a number of things for me. One, I can cook wherever I need to, and it really fits in a small bag. And don't forget now, I also have waterproof matches, and then I have these little fuel cells that are also waterproof. So no matter where I go, I could actually boil the water to drink it if I needed to, but I can use my water to then put 1 cup of water in here for my freeze-dried meal, because now I realize that nuts and berries and things like that are good, but I'm picky. I want to have a
Well,
really nice meal when I'm out in a hurricane.
well, doctor, if you ever come hunt with me, you're going to be the designated chef, and I'm going to get a little chef's hat for you.
I tell you what, that sounds like fun, and I have a feeling that sometime this hurricane year we may be able to pull that off. But I think we've learned some important things, and I think you're doing things right. You worry about water, which is going to keep you alive. Food, that yes, but you can live a long time without it, and then some medicine, always a good thing to have. We're out of time for this go around, but I learned some lot. I learned a lot about Josh today as well. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.